It's me, your host, Evan Campbell, and tonight we're talking to my friend and hunting partner of almost 20 years, Justin Adams, and we're going to be talking about hunting with a rifle in the farm country of Southwest Virginia. I'm going to let him introduce himself and just tell us about your hunting style, maybe where you live if you want. If you want to tell people that all these big bucks in the background, you might not want to tell people that.
So, well, I'm from Lebanon, Virginia, is where I went to high school, and um, mostly hunt Russell County. I've been hunting since probably I was 8 years old. I killed my first doe with a muzzleloader. So, and I've went hunting any time I could. Anytime Dad would let me follow him along. So I
You
mean,
went hunting with him.
I went hunting with him.
Now, was y'all hunting like private land or like
Oh yeah, so
national forest? What was it?
now we were always on private land. I was raised on a cow calf operation farm, um, around 300 acres, bits and pieces here and there. Not
Yeah.
one big chunk, but we really just hunted farmland is about all we was ever even able to hunt. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time, National Forest was an hour away from us. So
Yeah, and still is.
yeah.
And so you're hunting brushy fields, pasture, and when we say farm country, we're not talking about just don't think flat land like a floor, like the hillsides here. You know, cattle are grazing on them. They're so steep you can't get a tractor on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
you know there are some hay fields, but sometimes you don't get the opportunity to hunt that. I don't guess. But,
yes, I'm mostly hunting. I like big timber with maybe surrounded by thickets with maybe some smaller hayfields. I don't like hunting huge hayfields. I just don't think the deer is comfortable
Yeah.
in those. Yeah, I'm mostly thickets. I can't hear very well, so I'm always relying on my eyesight. So, um, you know,
And so that's changed a little bit how you hunt too.
oh yeah, for sure. Um, so I'm not usually the best bow hunter due to that fact, but I love it nonetheless, and I'm out there anytime I can be.
Now, so when you say you're out there every time you can be, how often do you hunt during deer season, and does that increase over when rifle season gets here?
Uh, so it all depends on if I have a target buck usually. Um, if I have a target buck on a summer pattern and I think I can get him with a bow, I will really hunt him hard with a bow because a lot of my deer here have a summer pattern and then they have that breeding winter pattern. And usually I try not to, but if I get on one buck that I want to hunt, yeah, I'm hunting him hard. And that's starting October 1st. I don't know that I've ever missed opening day of bow season since I've started bow. We'll say the last 15 years, I've probably not missed opening day of bow season.
What about rifle season? How often do you go?
I'd have to go back and ask my dad that, but I know I've not missed opening day of rifle season for the last 15 years probably.
Well, like this fall, will you change your schedule? Will you change your work schedule? Take vacation? How do you ensure you get in the woods?
So I am a small business owner, and we have the farm. So during the summer and spring and fall, I'm working a lot of late evenings, early mornings just to sort of save up and make that time. But the first day of rifle season, that first week, normally I'll take that week off. Then you have Thanksgiving come up, so I'll work that first Monday, Tuesday, and then me and my dad are in the woods. The rest of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And luckily, it hits like that with rifle season in Virginia. But that's my favorite time to hunt.
Yeah. Okay. October's over. The first 2 weeks of muzzleloading, which is the first 2 weeks of November here in Virginia, is over. Rifle season comes in around the 14th to 18th, something like that here in Virginia. Once that comes in, what is your hunting style? Like what tactics are you using to get a buck on the ground?
So usually, I'll hunt pretty hard in muzzleloader, which is the 2 weeks prior. But if I'm on a certain deer, I'll be obviously hunting the area he's in. But I'm looking for these bucks that have hunting for that last doe and heat because I feel like 1st of November, around November 10th, 11th, 12th, those bucks are just cruising, trying to find that first hot doe. And I feel like there's a lot of breeding that goes on And I'm telling you, it's, in my opinion, it's some of the hardest hunting at that point in time. If you can't find that hot doe around November 15th, 18th, you know, I'm more November 20th to 22nd trying to find that doe, trying to find that buck, looking for that next hot doe.
Yeah.
And but that's, I'm hunting thickets and transition areas. I'm looking for places. Those does will try to go get away from those bucks that are just been dogging them all of November, and I'll go find that thicket. And
Yeah. Now, will you be hunting that from a tree stand or ground blind? Will you be still hunting, stalking?
So, a lot of people don't agree with this, but I will try to get the wind in my favor. I'm not a huge chemical.
To tell you how much, me and Justin went on or what he's talking about here, we just come back from a deer hunt in Kansas, and we did it on our own, and Justin's going to say he plays the wind, and I do too. And I know this because I watched him leave a gas station, and he may even have gas splashed on his boots, and he went right in the woods. Didn't bother him. Maybe that's why we didn't kill a deer that evening. I don't know.
Be.
He did kill a really nice buck the next day, so we'll talk about that later.
I just don't think you can fool a deer's nose. So
you're definitely not, especially not a mature buck or even a small buck.
I do. You got to play the wind,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not gonna try to beat the wind or try to beat the deer's nose. I mean, it's just, but back to your main question. I love box blinds. I do have 2 box blinds I hunt out quite a bit that I've killed one of these deer out of. But one of my biggest Southwest Virginia deer, I was sitting in a $5 little tripod-like chair.
Yeah.
Pouring down rain. I had to, wipe my scope off just to see if it was a buck.
Yeah.
And then I'd wipe it off again to shoot the deer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Now, when you're sitting on the ground like that, what are you looking for a good place for you to set up where you feel comfortable?
So I was actually in a pasture field with a few rose bushes, a few cedar trees.
Yeah.
And I was watching a pretty big boundary, and I say big boundary, I'm gonna say 15 to 20 acres of big hardwood timber with had some brushy fence rows, and those does really like to just bed in that little brush, and those bucks would either be on the outside in the field,
yeah,
or right on the inside of those woods, trying to win that next doe, and that's what I look, and that's what I like to hunt. I mean, I work off site with my ears, so.
Now, let me ask you this. A lot of people, I've heard people say this, that if they see a buck and it's not coming their direction, they're afraid to make a move on that deer. They're afraid they're going to bump that deer and not see it again. Does that bother you? If you see a deer, he's going the opposite way, what are you going to do?
If it's a deer I've never seen before, if I know the terrain,
yeah,
and I know I can get around this deer and try to cut him off, absolutely. If I do not know this terrain, I'll just hope possibly there'll be a doe coming back my way, or I'll catch up with him the next morning, versus bumping him and never even having a shot.
Okay. Now, hunting here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, we got a big mix of terrain. Like he's talking about, like big timber. We've got brushy fields. You've got hay fields. Very few creek bottoms. Most of our creeks are in the bottom of a holler, straight up and down each side.
Yeah.
How many deer a year do you see? We'll say big enough to shoot, as in say something comparable to one of these deer here. How many deer a year are you seeing? That big? I'm not talking about seeing pass them on the road.
Yeah.
Seeing them at night. When you're actually out hunting, how many deer do you think you see that are that size? I know some years are different, but
starting in bow season, say October 1st.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to see 2 deer that I would shoot a year. And usually one of those is in a bachelor group with a bow 200, 300 yards away. It's rough hunting here. I mean, I love it, but there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Now, what about in November? Say last 2 weeks in November off season. How many bucks a year will you see big enough to shoot?
Big enough to shoot. When I say that, I'm talking about a 8 to 10 scoring 130 plus around here. If you're lucky, you'll see 2.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Last year, me personally, I didn't even see a deer big enough to shoot deer in legal shooting light.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like an 8 or 10. I did shoot a nice 7-pointer in Tennessee, but it was nothing comparable to this. Nothing wrong with it, but
Yeah.
it's not what really gets Justin fired up.
Yeah, it's
And that does make it tough. It wears on you not seeing a buck big enough to really get you shook up, really get your heart going over hunting. It's hard to hunt day in and day out like that and not see one. But you obviously know that they're there. Does that help keep you going?
yeah, and I run a lot of cameras, but I love putting cameras on scrape lines. You know, a lot of people put mineral sights and stuff. I may have 1 or 2 a year on a mineral sight in the summer, but 9 out of 10 of my cameras are on scrape lines. And once I find an area that a buck is, I don't actually hunt that scrape line.
Yeah.
But you can bet I'm within 300 yards of that scrape line.
Okay.
And because obviously, you know.
Now, when he's talking about a scrape line, he's talking about a deer's made a scrape, say here, and then some of them are as close as 5 feet away. I've seen them.
Oh,
there
yeah.
might be a scrape 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards up a ridge and a fence row. And I'll ask you this. It's a good question. How come you don't hunt right over them scrapes? Some people do that. I mean, I guess some people don't. You're saying you won't be within 300 yards of that.
And it varies on the terrain, but like one of my main stands, there's actually a community scrape, and I'm always setting around 120, 130 yards away.
Yeah.
Right now, you can find those scrapes, like that scrape there right now. I've had bucks on that camera starting 1st of October. But if I go and hunt that scrape all through October and November,
yeah,
that deer is only going to hit that at night, or if that,
Yeah.
So I'll leave that area alone.
And a lot of times, I think those bucks, if they hit it at night when they're during day stirring, I think they're actually downwind. I think they cruise downwind of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I mean, it's, there's a lot of different opinions on the scrapes, but that's mine. That's what's worked for me.
Hey man, his wall's full of deer here, so I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it. All right, Justin. Now what I want to know from you is, it's muzzleloading. We'll say bow season's come through, muzzleloading has come through. Now rifle season is in. I'm talking to you because I know you're really big on rifle hunting the last 2 weeks of November. What I want to know is what are your favorite days to be in the woods hunting during rifle season here in Virginia, and why?
So I'm in the later parts of November. I'm talking about November 20th through even December 1st. I've had a lot of good luck between the 20th and the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 or 4 deer on this wall from those dates. Like I sort of mentioned before, a lot of those does have already been bred, and so these bucks are trying to find the last few does coming in heat. And I do think certain farms in different areas, I'm not going to say maybe 30 minutes away, there may be does coming in heat a few different days compared to here. But anyway, the farms I hunt, it seems like those bucks are running out of does. They're really starting to cruise. There's times I've seen 7 to 8 different bucks cruising in those dates, hunting for those.
So you think they're hunting harder for a doe coming in heat because you think they can feel that less does are coming in heat? There's less does available.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the truth, but that's the way I've seen. That's the way I feel about it.
Sounds legit to me. I'll go with it.
I know 2 years ago, I watched a 128 point bed down with he's on lockdown with he must have been the only doe around, because there was 3 or 4 other bucks coming in there trying to get on that one doe. And this is a place during bow season that you'll see 10 to 12 does and 1 buck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you sort of ask, where am I going hunting? Now I'm going hunting where there's a lot of does, and at that point, because that's where those bucks are going.
So you're saying when the 20th of November comes in, you're wanting to hunt where you've seen a lot of does, where you're going to find some does. That's where you're headed.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm going. I'm hunting for a little bit of feeding, but not solely feeding. But
like, are you looking for places that you think a doe is going to isolate herself to get away from a buck?
I think I'm looking for where they're going to the thickets to get away from the bucks, to get out of sight. They've been under pressure getting ran. So I'm hunting for thickets that's really close to nice feeding areas. Not big feeding areas, but just it could be something as small as a 50 by 50 patch of grass somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
a little corner of a hay field, or because a lot of the acorns are almost gone at this point. So, you know, there's a lot. And you see pasture around here. You think, man, the cows have ate all that, but it don't take a lot for a deer to survive. I mean,
They're like a billy goat. They'll eat and browse on about anything.
yeah,
A lot of stuff that you would look over and think, oh, deer don't want nothing to do with that. And you might see them wading right there in the middle of some briars picking, green briars.
yep, yeah,
They're getting that last little bit of clover down in that's close to some sagebrush and whatnot.
Yep, and don't and go hunting every day. I mean, any day you can. There's a lot of guys like, oh, you're always killing good deer and stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm always hunting, and then I'll text them, I'll be like, hey, did you see anything this morning? And they're like, no, I didn't go, and I'm like, you got to go hunting.
So if it's raining, do you hunt?
Absolutely.
If it's snowing, do you hunt?
I love it.
If the wind is blowing, you hunting?
Yeah, I mean, if the wind, I'm going to go to my box blinds. It might not be the best ideal situation, but if it's windy,
But you can't kill them from the couch.
You can't kill them from the couch. No.
So if someone says, I'm only hunting when a cold front's coming through, you're hunting before the cold front, during the cold front, after the cold front. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean,
so I feel like the more you're in the woods, even if you're not a very good hunter and new to it, the more time you're in the woods, that is more opportunity for a deer to come by you, a buck to slip up, because they're going to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to make mistakes. They're going to let their guard down eventually. Eventually, something's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and it might be for 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah, and you got to always be ready. I mean,
So you're not sitting there, your feet kicked back, gun over here.
No, and and there's sometimes I got to catch myself. Like I'll get on my phone, or I'll be people from work calling. But I am always ready.
Justin's a popular and busy guy. I can attest to this.
So I mean, and a lot of people they'll throw their gun around their shoulder walking out, and I can think of 2 nice deer walking out at that 10, 11, 12 o'clock range. I probably should have kept hunting, but just walking, now being ready at all times.
Now here's something I want to bring up. Talk about people having their gun over their shoulder. I use the sling on my gun in Kansas during muzzleloader season. I generally don't use a sling because what Justin just said, it makes it very easy for you to get tired and complacent and say, well, I'm just gonna put my gun on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And what Justin's saying is you need to be ready all the time. You need to be ready to take a shot.
Yep. I
like that.
Yeah.
That's a good tip for anybody.
Yeah, because like I said, I can't always hear them, but a lot of times I'll jump and I'll see them, and a lot of times that deer's gonna stop one time and turn back and look at you and see what you were, and that's that spot and stalk game there and it's hard to do around here on these little farms.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may walk 15, 20 minutes and you're at a property line.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, the fun's sort of over.
Yeah.
But it's farmlands and national forest land is, it's 2 totally different deer there. But still, that's even.
They're still hard to hunt here on farms. I know some people think just because you're hunting farmland that your chances are better. I really don't know if they are. I think you will see more deer. I mean, Justin just sat here and said that you might see 2 bucks big enough to shoot during November.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty particular. I mean, when I was in high school, I shot a lot of smaller deer that I wish I'd let go.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. You need good experience for it, and some people they're not really after antlers. They're just wanting to get out and go. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I usually will use on my doe tags the first couple weeks of bow season so I mean I'm a trophy hunter. I'm gonna tell you, I kill does for meat. And
nothing wrong with that.
And but I take the time to go during bow season.
Yeah.
And I know everybody don't have the time I do, but it's all about priorities. I mean.
Yeah. And you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
You do.
So.
All right, Justin. We've talked about your favorite time to hunt, your hunting style, a little bit about where you hunt, how long you've been hunting. Let's talk about something for someone new to hunting, or it's their first year to hunt. Someone doesn't have a ton of experience, but they've got land available to them to hunt. That's similar to what you're talking about hunting, just farm country, pasture land in Southwest Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain area, Northeast Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Southern West Virginia. Just what would be your number one tip to someone just getting started hunting?
So you're as a new hunter, whether you're hunting your old family farm or you're hunting a friend's farm or your uncle's farm, whatever. Obviously, the deer has to be there first. So you keep hunting this place, you run cameras, you're not seeing anything. I'm not saying they're not there, but there might not be as many. So don't be afraid to go ask people to hunt. Maybe an old farmer just needs help, and it may be a 5 to 10 acre farm. But I'm telling you, you don't realize some of these deer, how little tracts of land they'll just bed in. And I think as a new hunter, just don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to tag along and help somebody drag a deer. You'd be amazed that the stories they can tell you and what you can learn from them. This farmland,
I mean, it obviously produces some nice deer.
Yeah, don't really look for the prettiest farm. Obviously, there's some nice, beautiful hay fields and stuff like that. That looks great, but look for those overgrown fence rows, cedar thickets, sagebrush. Find any type of bedding area. That's as a new hunter. That's what I'm gonna tell someone is,
Now, how would you tell them to look for some bedding area? You're talking about bedding area. Some people might not know. Like when you're saying bedding area, what are you describe that?
If you can walk through it, it's probably not thick enough. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good description.
No, but these 6 to 10 foot tall cedars. I'm not saying hunt right in it, but definitely that last month of November, be on the edge of that somewhere. And if you have to hunt in it,
God bless you.
Yeah. And if you're able to, and the farmer allows you, go cut you some shooting lanes. He's not gonna be mad about cutting cedars.
Yeah.
So,
but he might ask you to come back.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of people let you hunt if you ask, and they just don't spend all your time in one place.
Yeah.
I'll get stuck. Man, I killed a deer here 3 years ago. I'm gonna hunt here every day. Well, sometimes they're just not there that year.
Yeah, sometimes it's just luck of the draw that you were there when the buck come through.
Yeah. So don't.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Don't get hung up hunting the same spot or saying, I've got a tree stand here or a good spot. I'm going to hunt here every day.
Yeah.
Mix it up. Take a break. If you're not having good luck there, if you saw some spot you want to try, go check that out. Take an evening off, then go back at it hard the next day if you can or the next weekend.
And if it's raining, get out there and spot and stop. They can't hear you. You can get close enough to them to get a shot.
Yeah, and I think the deer move more when it's raining. I don't know if they have to get up, if it makes them feel more comfortable, or if they know that they are more susceptible to being snuck up on when it's raining because, they can't hear as well.
Mm-hmm.
The leaves don't make as much noise, so you can make less noise when you're walking.
Yeah.
But, I've killed some really, really nice deer, either during the rain or right after the rain.
Yep. Same right here. I've killed 2 or 3 really nice deer in pouring rain, not sprinkling rain, pouring rain. So it sucks to get out there and get wet, but it's if you want it bad enough, you'll
go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. This is a little bit we're rabbit trailing here, but we're talking about new hunters. Should, in your opinion, if we're going to invest some money in something, and let's say we'll say around the $300-400 mark. If they had $300-400 spent on hunting stuff, where would you tell them to spend that money? Clothes, guns, optics. What are we talking about?
Some decent light weather, waterproof clothing, windproof and waterproof. That would be that, and a good pair of binoculars. I've got till now. I would rather forget my bow than forget my binoculars. And I'm almost that way with my rifle. I'd almost rather forget my rifle than my binoculars because I'm just always scanning thickets, and I'll look at woods 300-400 yards away, and I'll be looking in those when that frost is on first thing in the morning. So, a good pair of binoculars is, and take the time to use them. Don't just buy them. You actually have to.
Yeah, take them with you.
You have to sit down and scan until you're just tired of scanning. I'll scan, and when I'm starting to see squirrels move in the woods 200-300 yards away, that's when I know I'm scanning and I'm seeing, and I'm, you know, if there's a deer come through there, I'm gonna see it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey man, this has been a fun night.
Yeah.
I hope y'all enjoyed listening to Justin, and this is our second episode of the Blue Ridge Hunters. So
yeah, I'm excited.
yeah,
I'm excited. It's almost got about another week till muzzleloading hits, so I'm.
Then you're gonna be out after him.
Yeah.
I will too.
Yeah.
You taking some time off?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take first week of rifle off, at least the half a day, the whole week. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe people will be seeing some posts. Justin, I think, what is you on Instagram? Adams720.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Be glad to
Look him-
Facebook or
look him up.
Instagram. They got a lot of pictures of coyotes and deer, turkey,
And you'll be seeing,
grouse.
absolutely, you'll be seeing Justin on another video we're gonna do about deer hunting in Kansas, because we both had a real good trip in
yeah.
Kansas with some muzzleloaders earlier this
Yeah.
year, and I hope we'll see some videos on Justin on turkey hunt.
Yeah.
So, thanks again, everybody.
Oh yeah.